We are here today because the time has come. We've reached the tipping point. If we don't act now, the Department of Homeland Security's Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency may irreparably shatter the hard-earned trust and cooperation which is so essential to effective policing that our local police officers have established with the people and communities of Los Angeles and beyond. For far too many of our neighbors, ICE's so-called Secure Communities program translates into less security, not more. A program which demands collaboration between ICE agents and local law enforcement, and whose express mission is to remove from the United States undocumented immigrants who are convicted of serious criminal offenses, has become a program in which a victim of domestic violence who was from my district, who called 911 to report her abuser, was instead processed for deportation. While ICE has since retracted the order for deportation, this individual's status is still in limbo. We also have the case of a woman who was taken into custody for selling hot dogs on the street without a license. Now she's been put in jeopardy of deportation. In Los Angeles County, nearly half of those who are taken into custody by ICE have not been convicted of committing a crime. In other counties of California, it's even worse. In Fresno County, 60% of the individuals who've been taken into custody by ICE have not been convicted of a crime. In Merced County, 65% have not been convicted of a crime. And in other parts of the country, take Jefferson Parish in Louisiana, 72% of those people taken into custody by ICE have not been convicted of a crime. In a time of shrinking budgets, we must demand priority and precision from our police and sheriff's departments in pursuing the most dangerous and violent criminals on our streets. So far this year, Angelenos were the victims of 125 homicides, 271 rapes, 3,737 assaults, 4,181 robberies, 6,896 burglaries. We must count on the confidence, support, and cooperation of all of our neighbors and local merchants to achieve optimal safety and security throughout our communities. Our citizens are law enforcement's indispensable partners. They are our eyes and our ears. They report the crime. They are the witnesses. They are the Good Samaritans. But there's a train wreck looming. ICE's overreaching hasn't stopped, so we can't wait and watch law enforcement lose its indispensable partner. Today we call on Governor Brown to suspend our state's participation in the Secured Communities program as we await the Inspector General's report on this particular program. That's what the governors of Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts have already done. And Governor Brown, that's what California should do.
First of all, I'd like to comment on what this is not about. This is not about setting up a sanctuary city. This is not about zeroing in on one particular ethnicity as it relates to immigration. Each of the 15 council districts in the city of Los Angeles has an immigrant population. This is about maintaining a 40-year history of the city of Los Angeles and directing its energies towards having great relationships with immigrant communities, whether it addresses language skills or addressing their specific issues as it relates to crime. It is nothing more important than having that relationship so that people have a willingness to come forward and not be victimized in their community.
There is no dispute that our government needs to deport criminals and those who commit serious crimes. The issue is that the Secure Communities program has resulted in the unintended consequences of injustice and increased vulnerability to crime. As a member of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Homeland Security, and as the proud representative of the 34th Congressional District, I hear heartbreaking stories one after another, how this program encourages racial profiling and negatively impacts the lives of individuals and their community. ICE's own data on the s-comm program tells us that last year alone, more than 25% of the persons that ICE deported were not criminals at all. That's 1 in 4. In California, of the over 35,000 people that ICE deported under this program, over 9,000 of those were non-criminals, actually classified as non-criminals by ICE. ICE's data also tells us that fully 5% of the individuals it classified as undocumented were actually American citizens. The impact of the Secure Communities program has had on our immigrant community is really disheartening.
Let me reiterate that our concerns are first and foremost about public safety. The people on the front lines of this program, our police officers, however, have expressed serious concerns about its implementation. Chief Beck himself has noted that the program is causing a breach of trust between the LAPD and our immigrant communities, hindering our officers' duty to protect and serve all our residents. And the numerous reports of domestic violence victims being detained through this program are simply unacceptable. If a program is causing a victim of violence to fear deportation for merely reaching out for help, then this program is causing more harm than doing good. And so we are here to support our friends in the LA City Council, whom I commend for passing a resolution to suspend Secure Communities. And we want to have California as a whole opt out. The council was absolutely right in stating that this program, as currently implemented, has undermined our police department's mission of protecting the public. I sincerely hope that Governor Brown heeds our delegation's request to meet with us on this matter, and that we ultimately suspend our state's participation in the program. It is the right thing to do.
While again, it is well-intentioned, some of the language may do more harm than good, and many of you know how many decades we have worked very, very hard to build strong relationships between LAPD and community members. Studies have shown that Secure Communities program has been used to detain people who have not even committed crimes. And for my concern, women who call for help in domestic violence cases have been detained as a result of this program. It's difficult enough to get a woman to report a domestic violence issue. Couple that with fear of deportation, it could have devastating consequences. A woman could be afraid of coming forward and getting deported, separated from her children, who could be left in a system or in an abusive situation. Obviously, we all want to live in secure communities where people feel safe and comfortable sharing information with local law enforcement. Our experiences have shown us that open communication can prevent crime before it happens. And that's what a relationship means with your local police department. It can help our officers avoid conflict, close cases faster, and with greater frequency. So we need to ensure that we protect the sanctity of our relationships with our communities so that officers can do their jobs and people can continue to feel protected. By taking away that element of fear and making sure that the doors of communication remain open between the community and police officers, we have seen neighborhoods grow closer and become safer places to live. So I join the policymakers here today in agreement on the opt-out provision.
We are going to pursue, certainly of course we have the letter that we have sent to Governor Brown. It has been signed by several of our congressional colleagues. We will continue to try to secure signatures from members of the delegation from not just Los Angeles City, but Los Angeles County. And certainly we will pursue also signatures of members of Congress from the state delegation here in California. And we will pursue those conversations with the governor. We have had for some time, my colleagues and I, Congresswoman Chu, Congresswoman roybal-allard, other members, and I, conversations directly with the President directly, and certainly with Homeland Security and ICE Chief Morton on this particular matter. And I do want to stress something. I believe Chief Morton is trying to make progress. Many of us have heard his request that we try to help as ICE begins to implement programs like Secure Communities. I know that they are trying to address some of the concerns we've raised. And we look for the day when we can feel more comfortable that indeed the civil rights of individuals in our communities will be protected, when there will be greater accountability and transparency in the program, and when there will be a greater sense that the discretion that ICE can use to implement the program will be done in a way that is in coordination with local law enforcement, so that if local law enforcement will use its precious resources to help implement this particular program, which we all agree with in terms of going after offenders of serious crime, then we can live together and work together to say that we are protecting and making our communities more secure. So it needs to be made clear that many of us have had those conversations with Chief Morton. We hope to have that conversation with Governor Brown, but this is something that we must pursue.